Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Core Sports Warrior Race. Today we are going to be doing 4 laps out on the Volcano Circuit on Watopia. Just a quick little introduction about something new that we are bringing to Zwift Community Live that we've been doing for a couple of weeks now, heading into the new year. Looks like it's going to be a lot of racing with Koa Sports. For serving specifically the Americas and Australian broadcast time. So Koa Sports is bespoke coaching and esports service spanning 35 countries worldwide. All coaches are full-time professionals over at Koa. With national accreditations and many years of experience. Koa Sports is for the endurance enthusiast, competitive beast, or wild dreamer. And they've set up an awesome race series out on Zwift. You can check out their top rating podcast on iTunes and Spotify as well if you want more information about them and kind of get in with their community. Search Koa Sports podcast for training tips, e-racing highlights, and featured guests. You can join the tribe and be a warrior over with them at coresports.com.au. Now, our talents today, as well as some of the color that's going to be coming alongside of it, is Tim Ballantine. He's a coach, 2 times Kona, 5 times 70.3 champion, and course record holder. Greg McDermott as well. He's a coach, 5-time Ironman, and Ride Around Oz. Ken Cross is always also going to be bringing some statistics in the background, and he's a former professional Formula Motor sport driver. Now endurance coach and competitive age grouper. So make sure to check them out on Instagram and Facebook as well. Good to see everybody in chat. We will be bringing in comments through chat. We're live on Facebook, Twitch, Mixer, as well as YouTube. So make sure to be chatting away over there as we'll bring in your comments as we do. Let's go ahead and head on over to Australia with our commentators and get right into the racing, though. Tim and Greg, take it away.
G'day, Nath, and welcome to everyone all around the world, whether it be morning, noon, or night. I'm Greg McDermott. This is Tim Ballantine, and over on our left-hand side is the great Kent Cross. We're looking forward to a great race. Let's have a look at that stinger. Righto, we might have missed the stinger. And huge paddock this morning, Tim, or this afternoon, tonight, good evening, whatever it is.
Yeah,
we have over 200 starters, and this race we've got word on the street is there's a couple of heavy hitters coming in.
Yeah, well, we've got someone from the esports team Evoke, obviously in there. The paddock's loaded, mate. So much like my stomach after the last week of eating, we had a Christmas lunch only 2 days ago. And,
right.
So just I think Christmas is just getting longer and longer. It's just starting to stretch.
Let's go to the action, and the guys and the girls are just about to roll out in the Koa Sports race.
Beautiful.
And straight to the front. We would expect, like always, Tim, in the Volcano Circuit, which we've now raced on many, many times, to have a huge pack as we go around, and we reckon there's about a 10 to 15% drop-off as we go through.
Yeah, each lap you get that attrition up that ramp, which Kent will give us a little bit of information about in a second. But obviously 4 laps tonight. We've got this lead-in, Greg, where you've got this initial ramp. It's a moderate ramp, but as we know in Zwift racing, there's no sort of gentleman clause here where we just roll to the start line. It's just on like Donkey Kong, and it's nice to see looks like a Koa Sports jersey there right off the front there. So yeah, of course, if you finish any of these Koa Warrior races in 2020, you get in your garage the Koa Sports Warrior jersey in game. And in about a month's time, we'll be opening the 2 times used store, and you can buy it in real life, which did really well. But yeah, look, there's some names in there, Greg. You can see Butler and Esco in there, McIntyre, Valario, Corrigan, Hotham, Wilcox in there as well. So some names that we're already familiar with. I think I saw Sproul in there, Alex Side, names like that. So here they come up that ramp. You can see sort of top right there that number of 3%. So that's just giving you an indication of how they're feeling. You can see that group sort of stretching out now along, already back a few hundred metres back to, but of course we're just following A grade. A lot of B graders in this pack here, which is good to see. Big attack here.
What we've seen here before, Tim, is 2 to 3 laps in there, a few riders go off the front. We've got Pozzolini there off the front, and we see a few riders there with the little KRT numbers coming through there as well, Tim. So they're joining us for the first time, I believe, in our event tonight as well.
Like a little two-man breakaway, but here comes the big pack as they roll on through. Amato in there, and McIntyre and Cridland. So good to see Hodges. There's Hodges' name just popped up there as they roll through on that leaderboard on the right-hand side. So some of the numbers that you're seeing, obviously those that are pretty familiar now with Zwift coverage, obviously, but for those that are new, of course, this is a relatively new phenomenon, so we should go through what people are looking at, and you want to walk them through potentially just that little blue box.
Big blue box, or little blue box in the top left-hand corner of your screen will tell you some pretty serious numbers there. So we're following there with Killam and pushing 256 watts at the moment. And that equals 3.4 watts per kilo. If you check back on the right-hand side, his RPM or cadence is sitting at 100, and his heart rate, his BPM, currently at 140. So I don't know Killam too well, Tim, but I'm sure that's pretty comfortable for him.
Don't know him personally?
Not personally. I might in the future.
You never know.
From the KRT team out of the beautiful country of Canada, as we like to call it on the Koa Sports race.
Up a little 3% ramp here as they come underneath the Koa Sports Rock, which we've aptly named. We've claimed it. If it has another name, apologies, but we're claiming it. There's a bit of a break then back 7 seconds to a sort of secondary group, then 10 seconds. So 7 seconds will not be got back. So we're with this front pack here at the moment of about, well, I'm going to guess around sort of 30 riders, Greg, in this front pack. So maybe some attrition there over the 4 laps. This is the finish line that you will see, and they will do this obviously 4 times, but it's got this sort of double kick. And as we know and we've seen in this Koa Warrior race, in any race on the Warrior circuit, you got to wait for that second kick.
Absolutely.
Because you think you've got it. You think you've got it,
come bowling over the top of you.
It gets you in the end.
Speaking of bowling, Tim, big day today for Australians watching the cricket, the third and final test up against the Kiwis.
Yep.
I'm interrupting the racing.
Yeah, that's okay. We've got a couple of feather-up power-ups being played there, so a lot of little power-ups as they collect their new ones as they come underneath the comms. So 4 laps, we start our 4 laps here, and typically we do see the race do its sort of thing and attack off the front. So a little bit of an attack here. We're with Alex Side, who does, as we know, is a very aggressive rider and putting some pressure on the group here early. Potentially there, Sproul will respond. These guys have been racing the Warrior Series since the middle of last year, so familiar with some of the names and maybe just the dynamics now. Each race typically takes on its own personality, if you want to give it that.
Yeah, if there's the most combative rider in the Koa Warrior Race Series, it's definitely Alex Side.
3-man break.
This is the sort of break, Tim, that can stay away in this sort of race. We've got Side, Sproul, and pushing 355 watts there at the moment. So using a power up there early is Villarino as well. So Villarino, out of Denmark. So these 3 guys now might just hold them off for a little while. But big pack and some big names chasing behind there. We've got Hodges, got the e-biker in there as well. And this group might just stay away for a little bit. But I would imagine at a second break at the moment, they'll all come back together. And there we go.
Here we go. Nicolay coming straight through there, doing the double, the 1-2 punch there with the French flag there. So Nicolay going 7 watts per kilo here, right off the front, pushing over 500 watts here at the moment, 6.3 watts per kilo, already putting 2 seconds back to that group. We're going to have to see a response, you would think, but it's a long time to sort of hang out there in the breeze on your own. But as they come into this ramp, which will be coming up in just a few hundred metres time, they'll take a right-hander.
Yep.
Potentially, Kent, maybe you want to tell them a little bit about them as they come up this little mini ramp here.
Yeah, sure. So the ramp they're coming up now is quite a short one. It's only about 500 metres long, but you're talking 5% gradient, and it's just enough of a kick to really split the group up here. So you see Nicolaus off the front. If these guys don't bridge the gap, they're going to sort of spend some biscuits trying to catch up. But you got Killam bringing up the rear, bringing them up.
Yeah, sure. No, it's interesting. It's got that double sort of kick to it too, Kent. Where it sort of kicks again. You think you're through it, and then it's sort of another little uppercut.
Yeah,
here it comes here.
Certainly this one here, Tim's going to burn them up a little bit. The guys and girls who already burn up their power-ups might suffer a little bit there. We see
Big numbers, Greg.
Hodges coming to the front, 10 watts a kilo from Pozzolini as well. And as they guys rip it up that ramp as well, we'll just pop back there, and here we go. We've got Nicolay still in that front group, Alex Side as well, off right at the front of the group. You can see Sproul still in there. So huge heart heart rates now off the front. We
Here
got
with Lewis.
the Australian athlete there, Lewis, representing, flying the flag, if you want, with Cridlin in the front group and Ellison as well from Australia. These guys have really ripped it up, and 190 beats a minute. I don't know if we can hang on there for 30 minutes.
Dare I say, just 3.5 laps to go.
That's all.
So
just another 20 minutes.
You can see it busting. So this is a nice view here. You can sort of see that spread there as they came up that ramp. There's that attrition we were talking about, Greg, where you've got that sort of that spread. So you can see that blue Tron bike way back in the distance. So we're going to lose probably 8 to 10 riders and expect on that last lap, certainly, in 15 minutes time, we may only have sort of 5, 10 at most in this front pack. But
yeah, another huge push off the front. This is going to be on all night tonight. So, but the US athlete there, Beebe, straight off the front. It's 5.5 watts a kilo at the moment, but that was definitely an orange numbers as he or she pushed the attack off the front. We've got Keane there chasing down, Pozzolini still there, Esco, Villarino's still there, Sproul, obviously all the regulars. So plenty of heat on off the front. So, and shout out to all the people watching on Zwift Community Live page, Tim. We've got Martin Bjorgvik. That's pretty good from me. Dialing all the way in from Sweden.
Bjorgvik?
From Sweden.
Are there 2 dots on one of the
2 minutes to midnight in Sweden. So, yeah, there you go.
Here's that gap here, Greg. 3 seconds. Well. Out to 3 seconds now. There you go there. Good night from Sweden. Just a few minutes before midnight. So, you can jump on any time, of course, and join the coverage. Little ramp here, 3-4% coming around to complete this first lap. Nice little gap there of 3 seconds. Going to hurt, though. Going to hurt with three laps to go. But good on them for being aggressive and maybe just getting that pure training effect. Of course, we push our athletes out on camps and things like that and get that training effect really going. And, of course, out in the road, you get that balance of indoor training and outdoor training and get your efforts in right. And we know, certainly in the camp, we get some staggered efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look and see if we can cop a bit of footage of our camp from 2019. Righto, so we're just going to pop back to the action here, and the guys are just coming up to complete lap number 1 officially, Tim. So three more laps to go. We always speak in the Coal Sports world in kilometres, so we translate that back to miles. That's 4.3 miles down. Tim gets a little bit stuck on the numbers sometimes.
This is just not on.
We like speaking kilometres, metres and seconds.
Unbelievable. So nice front pack here. Let's go through some of those names again. We've got Sproul still in there, who we've seen take out this race many, many times before. Some bigger names here within Nicolay in there. We saw that big attack earlier. Biker in there, Esco. We've got Australian and Kiwi flags in there, Cridland and Lewis. And, of course, Alex Side in there, who are with right now. Mid-pack, you can see some of those Colour Sports jersey, that sort of that standing out, that fluoro red arm, that right arm there. So that's sort of a good way to identify it. And, of course, along the bottom across the back, it says, Be the Warrior.
Absolutely. So certainly see Hodges still remaining in that front group. Nothing unexpected there. BB now just folded back into that pack after the attack off the front. We've got the Filipino flag there too from Badass Vision Team.
You've gone long there.
Well.
Filipino.
So,
where's that
absolutely. I've spotted it at the back. Don't worry
You know
about
your
that.
geography because of the Facebook
I
posts that we do.
One little thing over Christmas, Tim, I've really enjoyed is no Facebook posts regarding races, so I don't have to hunt the flags down. So
don't be like that.
Shout out to Larry Parker as well, giving us a bit of a thumbs up for all the way from New Jersey, I would say. So good timing there. Look at that. Someone knows what's going on.
Is there someone in the big house here just feeding through some commentary? That's okay. So we're going to just throw to that little Colour Sports ad we got there about our camp. So let's go to that now. Yeah, how was it? Remember that morning, Greg, when we were they've come up this ramp here now, some big numbers. We'll talk them through this. So those little power-ups you can see there, those feather power-ups, perfect for this part of the course. So if you do pick them up going underneath that comb, that's the time to play it, of course, on this race. But if you've got that Aero Power helmet, That's the one that you want on this course for that big sprint finish, that double pinch up through to the line and really kick it in the guts as you go inside. So good time to basically press play on that is just as you enter the volcano. It tends to last just enough to the line. Well, certainly for me. Maybe you just don't quite get there, Greg. But
well, you're usually pretty familiar on this course.
Take you about 30
10
seconds.
XP points, Tim. So I still am yet to, in a Zwift race, ever get the plus 250 points. That's never happened to me. So
is that something that can happen?
I've
never seen it.
Sure
I've never. I swear, there must be a bot on my account because I only ever get 10 XP points. It just seems that way.
Oh dear, there we go. So we've still got Corrigan there. We've got an arrow being used off the front again. Not too long till we pick up another power up. So we're going to get rid of those and try and get a bit of a breather. And 148 beats a minute, not too bad. Yeah,
absolutely. So nice group here, sort of sprung out. They're inside the volcano here. They'll pop out of the volcano and start to work their way back around that back section of this lap, starting that second lap. Nice heavy rain here at the moment, so got to stay 2 wheels up. You don't want to be coming off your bike in this situation. So they'll roll their way here to the end of that second lap. Some really big numbers we've seen here tonight, Greg, as well. Typically some really big attacks. Certainly not afraid of those sort of 800. We're going to see 1,000 plus
easy
watts here in the finish, like over 13 watts per kilo you'd expect to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So definitely some big heavy hitters in the Zwift racing world coming in. And we're just going to throw to our special comments for a second with Kiapa.
Yeah, thanks guys. So just a few little numbers for some of the names in there. We got Nathan Killam from the KISS racing team. So he's actually a firefighter, believe it or not. So
Is he really?
Yeah, he's a firefighter. So that's a little bit.
He'd love the volcano circuit, wouldn't he?
Right at home. So I don't know if we should say these numbers or not, but why not?
If they're publicly available, they're publicly available.
His FTP at the moment is 365 watts a kilo.
Solid.
And 365 watts a kilo.
70 kilos. 365 watts, 70 kilos.
So his FTP is over 5 watts per kilo. That's pretty strong.
That's solid.
Any cycling world. Just going to jump in there. Speaking of people with huge FTPs, I was out on a little climb we've got here in Montville the other day, and I got passed by the one and only Caleb Ewan, one of the best sprinters in the world.
Is that right?
He went past me like I was standing still.
Did he give you a tap on the bum?
He did give me a little tap, and then as we went up the climb, he sat up because he'd finished his effort, and I had a good chat to him. Tim and I will be seeing him at the Tour Down Under in about 15 days' time. So
of course we will.
The first race internationally on the UCI Tour.
Here they come up to that end of that second lap. That's pretty special. Caleb Ewan, mate. That's awesome. He's an Aussie or a Kiwi?
Aussie. Come on.
Just kidding.
Wife from Noosa. There you go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There you go. So here comes the end of that second lap. So two down, 2 to go, Greg. 2 down, 2 to go. So they'll come up over here. Maybe we'll see some attacks here on that third lap. A little bit like the third day on the golf tournament of 4 day. They call it moving day, Greg. Maybe the third lap of the volcano circuit tonight. We'll see maybe the moving lap. We'll call it that anyway. Yeah, perhaps not.
Usually the day where the Aussies bowl the Kiwis out. So that's called moving day in Australia.
Oh, nice little sledge there.
There we go. Another shout out to another firefighter joining us there, Pods.
We love our firefighters at the moment.
Absolutely. Geez,
we need them. Come over here. It's a little bit hot here if you haven't seen in the news in Australia at the moment. So there's some unbelievable, but we'll leave that. You can see that that front pack now, Greg. Tight, small, nothing really off the back. So maybe we've done that so-called filter effect. There's nothing really strung out there. Maybe we might see that on this lap here as they come around on that ramp that we've seen each lap.
Certainly,
it really hurts you.
Something you mentioned there, Tim, and predicted quite well is those power-ups being used as they come through. So hopefully, if you're in the race, you picked up a nice little power-up as you come through to start lap 3, and we're at more than halfway now with that little lead in. So this front pack has been dwindled down to about 20 to 25 riders. So it's still got some big names in there. We've got Butler, Winton. I can see Esco there, Villarano, Beebe, Leclerc. And what you'll start to see now as well, so you still see Sproul in there too, Tim. And you'll start to see, just if you're watching at home or in the office or wherever you are, you might see them passing some riders, so don't be alarmed. That's not an attack off the front. That's a little bit of a slower group that these guys are going to roll past.
Yeah, with those Yeah, with those, obviously, these shorter laps. Here we go right now, obviously, as that
what's
front
the
pack
timing?
right on point there. So that likely to be guys in D grade having a race, of course, out here in the Coa Sports race. So it's not all about the front pack, obviously, but these guys now they're moving at a serious clip here. So they're going to start picking up riders as you go, particularly up this ramp.
Here we go up the ramp now.
A bit like you and Caleb Ewan, mate.
Yeah, this is how Caleb Ewan passed me, actually.
Yeah,
This is how it looked.
pretty much similar. They'll get a fright as they come past. There's those feather up, power ups being played. Pozzolini, 10 watts per kilo. Big attack here on that third lap. They're going to try and respond. 8.2 watts per kilo by Amato there. Kill him in there too. Lewis, nice little stretch there, Greg. They've really started to stretch those legs out. Over 500 watts here. We're still with Pozzolini as he comes up here. 400 watts, 165 beats per minute. Probably a little bit more scope on that heart rate. I'm just going to guess. I don't know, of course, but you'd see a little bit more scope. 700 watts. Goodness gracious me, as he comes up that second ramp. 196 beats per minute with Alex
over the top again.
Unbelievable. Look at the range on that.
Huge this is. So last night, Tim, the race, we run this identical race on about 12 hours ago, and the time went through at 24:55, and I'm tipping we're going to be a whole lot faster than that this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we're heading over to 2 and Under, which you mentioned earlier, doing a bunch of stuff with our great partners, BMC, who've been really, really supportive and jumping on board for the podcast this year. So we'll just check out some of their new product with BMC and, roll it out.
Now, Tim, it is now the 3rd of January, I believe, today, and I am yet to get a new BMC for the year.
You're doing well.
4 came into our house last year, so I've got a 362 day to whack a couple more in the garage.
I've run out of wall space, so I'm done. I'm very much done. But so Pod's in there. It was mentioned in that comment there, a firefighter. So it's really interesting. Certainly, as a coaching organisation, we have athletes from all walks of life. We've got, I've coached a few pilots, some tri-coaches, doctors, lawyers, accountants. It's a beautiful. You get this big spread, particularly, given such a global spread as well. You get some pretty interesting characters and people that, work pretty interesting hours, fly in, fly out miners, things like that. So,
I think I actually bore some of my athletes sometimes because I want to know more about what they do in their career before I start coaching them. So it's always, we meet all walks of life in coaching, especially correspondence coaching all around the globe.
So here they come to finish that third lap, Greg. So it is going to be absolutely on. They're about to pass another group here as they come up through here to finish that. So they'll start their final lap. Look for some big attacks here as they come underneath that comm. You might even see some power-ups being played, potentially ones that they don't want for that finish. They've got to risk it sometimes or potentially just keep it in the pocket. So they'll pick up either a new one as they come underneath this finish line arch, or they'll just keep what they've got and they're happy with it. So typically I find, if I'm even in races too, if you're on that last lap on this course and you don't see many power-ups be played, be sure that in the finish you're going to see a lot of aero power helmet because they feel like they've got the right one.
They want to save
they may have, you'll see some feathers in there too, but do you risk it? You play the feather and you might end up like me with a 10 XP.
It's an early feather to play too on this course, Tim, because there is still a good few minutes to go. So
absolutely.
You probably, I don't know, it's a tough one. Do you hold the feather and play it on the last climb up to the finish, or do you risk the biscuit like you generally do? You're a risking sort of guy, so you'll have a crack. So
just see the results for how that sort of plays out. Never ends that well.
So front group down to about 20 riders now. So a really solid front group. I'm expecting to see some big fireworks here. A lot of these riders, Tim, around the world will actually know each other and have raced each other quite a lot. So they know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So I'd expect to see a couple of big attacks. I'm expecting to see Alex Side have a really big crack
Are you
past the
predicting
Cole
again?
Sports Rock.
Are you expecting and predicting, Greg?
I love expecting.
Do you watch
and
the coverage
predicting.
back?
I love it. Yeah, I get a lot wrong. But geez, it looks good
gotta
when you
put
get it right.
Yeah, I know. That's just like horse racing, mate. It's really good. So here's some of those names in there, Greg. So Esco in there, Killam, Nicolay. Nicolay did that really big attack on about that second lap. So maybe a bit of a smoky in there, maybe more than a smoky from Team KRT. Holtam in there as well. And Nicolay. Kent's got some insights just before they get to that ramp. We'll try and get that inside out, Kent.
Yeah, it's just a quick one. Going off Greg's prediction, I'm going to say
Here we go.
Brian Hodges. He's got a 15-second sprint of over 1,000 watts.
Oh, that's handy.
That's like backing 100 to 1 on favourite.
I might get it right, so we'll see.
So Hodges, okay, mate. Well, they're
It's like backing Steve Smith in a batting competition.
yeah. Well, just wait for Zwiftbet.com. Anyway, so we'll come up the hill here as they come up the ramp. Are we going to see any power ups being played as they come up the ramp? 800 watts there by Sproul
Huge.
as they come up the ramp. A little feather power up being played there by one of the riders. Big attacks here. Cridland. We haven't seen Cridland come to the front yet, so showing a bit of a hand there. Jeez, this is going to hurt as they spring out. So this is going to stretch, I reckon, back 2-3. They probably will come back together.
Yeah, and Kent's man Hodges, if you're watching at home, is in a grey jersey on a pink Tron bike and has not spent a bicky in this race. So
Ask
a
him
really
that.
good tip.
Do you reckon he might
Got
not
Larry
he might not
Parker
agree.
dialing in. He's on the Kent Cross train as well. He's backed Hodges for the win as well this evening.
Hodges for the win, Greg. Okay, so here's that stringing out effect that we get as they wind their way back through the volcano. Then it starts to flatten out, starts to pick their mark. There may be a little bit of jostling for the middle of the pack here as they start to freshen up. That's typically what you don't really want the front of the group right now unless you're planning some sort of early attack, which, I tend to do. So look for them sort of fighting. Got Hodges there fighting about sort of 5th, 6th there at the moment, moving up on the left-hand side there, Hodges. Pink Tron bike going to the front now, Hodges, it would seem, if we've got that right with the grey jersey. Hope you've got that right.
That's 100% right.
Okay, no problems, 100%. Ooh, I've heard that before. He's fall back there.
We're watching him now. So we're watching him live now, 5.8 watts a kilo, 167
Alex
beats
Side.
a minute. And
Super.
BB's still in there. There's some real familiar names in here, Tim. But
good pack.
This sprint traditionally doesn't go until they take the right-hander into the volcano.
Could go early.
So we'll see what happens. I
Did you
still
just
am
predict?
expecting an attack. No, I just said that's a quote of what happens in the past.
Good stuff.
We've
So
got
Nicolay,
Lenore in there
few Frenchies?
sporting the Coa Sports
Canada.
jersey as well.
probably East Coast Canada, a few French
Possibly,
flags,
yeah.
Montreal, that sort
Here we
of
go.
district. So here they go off the front here. We've got the man in the green there coming right off the front on the yellow Tron bike. Nicolay, there he is,
Again.
Nicolay. So he attacked early there on that second lap early. So he's gone long. He's not going to play into the hands of the riders here. He's going to try and dictate terms. 7.3 watts per kilo. Straight off the front here, Nicolay. He's put 3 seconds back to Corrigan already, and Alessandro Sproul back at 4 seconds.
Yeah, huge, Tim. So 4-second gap now. These guys are going to have to just hold fire.
Oh,
We've
yeah,
got
big gap.
14 watts a kilo from BB trying to come across the gap. And if Nicolay can get some help here, he's fired his power up really early here. He's just about to pass another group. So he'll get through that group. We've got Lewis 3 seconds back, Villarano as well. We've got Hodges still in there at 4 seconds. This is a huge attack. Is he going to stay away or not?
I think he's got him. So Nicolay's absolutely
Here we come into the
blown.
volcano.
He's blown a gasket, it would seem, or maybe he's sitting up and going for that. So we'll stay with Nicolay here. Look for the big pack finish. Alessandro Sproul in there, Villarano, and of course Hodges
200
from the
to go.
team. Here they come up that ramp, and that second ramp's really going to bite Nicolay here. Here comes Bibby on the inside. He's in the blue. It looks like he's going to be hard to catch. 13 watts per kilo by Hodges. Has he timed his run right? I'm
Here
not
comes
so
Hodges,
sure.
Tim,
Here he
16
comes on
watts
the
a kilo,
inside,
straight
16
over the
watts.
top.
Shut the gate. It's all over. Looks like Hodges is going to get it done. I've gone early, but Hodges gets the biscuits
That's
tonight.
a great
And
time
Kappa,
sprint. Kappa's got in the line
Two
for the bookies.
hands
He's gone to
in.
collect his
Yeah.
$1.10 for his dollar bet, Tim. And what a sprint that was. That was a great prediction right through and some huge numbers.
Oh my
Six
goodness.
over 16 watts a kilo, which I think was thrown out there early as well. So
Did we see
really
1,000
good.
watts? I didn't look top left.
I'll
but
be going back to watch the replay, but usually our great friend Nathan throws.
Here's the
Here we
replay,
go.
Greg. Here's the replay. Look at that. So we had Bebby there off the front. Nicolay just went that little bit early. But shout out to Nicolay for those 2 attacks in this race. Look at that attack by Hodges. Goodness gracious me.
1,200
1200
watts.
watts. As I said, mate, shut the gate. That is unbelievable power.
Absolutely
and,
amazing.
I might have to jump in next time just to give him a run for his money. Greg. What do you think?
What, at the start line or the finish line?
My kick is in perfect nick because it's never been over 700 watts.
It's never been thrashed.
It's never been hurt.
I would
Good
love
race.
to see a video of Hodges in the pain cave and see what 1200 watts looks like for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
But,
unbelievable. So we'll throw back to Nathan, and of course we are back on for next week, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. We love working with ZCL, and of course check us out on Koa Sports Live on our own Facebook page. Coaching business, got plenty of athletes around the world, but we are loving it.
Podcast coming out later in the month too, so always good, and there's 13 episodes from 2019 to check in with as well. And a new addition to the podcast, Tim, is the great Kent Cappuccino coming in for the podcast with special comments and insights right through 2020.
You'll have to be listening to the podcast to find out why he's called Kappa.
Yeah, we'll
back to you,
the
Nathan.
secret.
Thanks very much, mate.
Great stuff coming out of Australia with Koa Sports. Lots of fun, amazing warrior race. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the results. We do not have graphics for the results today, but I will go ahead and read them through so everybody knows where things ended up on the day. Big shout out to Evo Bike, the new esports team that just got announced this past week. You can check out that article over on ZwiftInsider.com. There was a great interview done with the team manager and a few of the athletes, but Brian Hodges taking it down in the Koa Sports Warrior race today. First place, 24:28 was the total time. He won by almost a full second with that. What was the kick? 17 watts per kilogram. I mean, the guy can kick. That's why he's part of the pro esports team. That's for sure. And that whole community of racers that's coming up. Alessandro Sprout, MGCC. Second place. Nathan Killam from the KRT team is a professional triathlete, takes third place out there right down the alley with Koa Sports. It sounds like maybe he's looking to earn that jersey, it looks like. Elliot Hawtham's out here as well for fourth place, it looks like. Stefan Lenior, David Kim Amato there for sixth. Kieran Lewis, pro rider coming out of Australia, couldn't make it happen though, takes seventh place. It looks like 2 seconds back. Victor Nicolay, Alex Side, and then Kim Valerino for the DBR. So that is the top 10 in the A category race. We're going to be having broadcasts throughout the rest of the month with Koa Sports. Make sure to be watching out for announcements of when and where and how they are going down. It's going to be on Thursdays for sure, every Thursday throughout the month of January. So we're looking at the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, and the 30th. Same time, same place, 5 p.m. CST. That's Central Standard Time, 1500 PST, 3 o'clock on the West Coast. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in. As always, we always appreciate all you guys. We are live again over on Facebook, Mixer, YouTube, and Twitch. Make sure to hit those follow buttons wherever you are. Turn your notification bells. If you want to watch the replays back, the VODs will be available on each one of those platforms. We'll see you guys next week. We've got a lot of broadcasts and a full calendar throughout the month of January about to be released, so be watching out for that as we solidify things up with all of the community race organizations. I'm Nathan Garrett, ZCL. We were joined by Koa Sports, Tim Ballotay, Greg McDermott, and Kent Cross. We'll see you guys next time here on ZCL. As always, ride on.